Are you a super fan of the Kardashians just like us? If so, you'd know just how interesting Kourtney's relationship with Scott was. It was sure fun watching the couple and their quips on the show, right? In today's video, we'll talk about Scott and their relationship, and we'll also talk about Scott's future on the Kardashians' Hulu show. So if this seems interesting to you, keep watching the video. First up, let's look at what Scott said about his relationship with Kourtney. As you all probably know, Scott and Kourtney broke up a while ago. It was back in 2015 when they ended things. The reason? Well, Kourtney decided to end things with him because of his alleged substance abuse and infidelity. Kourtney had previously put things aside in the past when it came to her partner, but this time she had enough. A lot of fans think that she was already sick of Scott's behavior, but never took that step because of her 3 kids. But now that she saw how separating would be in the best interest of her children, she finally made the decision. After her separation from Scott, she moved on with her life and found love again. She married Travis Barker, as we all know. Scott has talked about his ex several times after their separation, but never in bad words. Both of them had a very mature and professional behavior towards one another, and fans really appreciate how they avoided unnecessary drama this way. Scott even wanted to reconcile things with Kourtney, but Kourtney had moved on and ended up marrying Travis in 2021. A source close to Scott told the public about how Scott had been feeling about the whole thing. The source told Entertainment Tonight that Scott had been trying to move on from all of it, although it had been difficult, but he was putting in the effort. He was trying to accept what happened, including where he was wrong and made mistakes and the consequences too. So now he's just trying to learn from his mistakes. Now, here's what else the insider told us. The source told us that Scott had been having a hard time ever since Kourtney got married. We mean, that's something natural, right? Seeing your ex get married can always take a toll on your mental health, especially given how the two separated. So no wonder he's been having a hard time facing all of this. But you know, you gotta reap what you sow, and this is just the result of things he had done when he had her. Now, if it teaches us anything, it's to cherish things while we still have them. Because no one stops for you and no one owes you either. So if you mess up, you face the consequences. And if you really like someone, show it through your actions so you don't lose them. The source told us that Scott had a lot of regrets about how he dealt with his relationship with Kourtney and wishes that he had done a lot of things differently. But now the time has passed and there's no point in crying over spilt milk. So he's trying to learn from his mistakes and become a better person, moving on. Well, at least he learned a lot from his experience, right? We hope that he's dealing with his issues with substance abuse and that he doesn't cheat in future relationships. Although from the looks of it, he doesn't seem to be interested in dating anyone else for a long time. Wouldn't you agree? Although it's been a good while since the two separated, he's still trying to get over her after all of these years. Following up, do the Kardashians still talk to him? One would think that after such a scandalous breakup, the family would cut ties with the star. But according to the insider, the reality is far from that. According to the source we have, the Kardashians still talk to Scott a lot. Not only that, but it was also said that the two see each other pretty frequently as well. Now, that's a shocker, no? We were also told that the whole situation between the Kardashians and Scott is far from toxic. They are still in a very healthy relationship and aren't holding any grudges against each other. Now that's a good thing, moving on and putting the past where it belongs. Behind us. Fans really liked hearing this because it showed that both sides were dealing with the whole situation very maturely. More good news for Scott's fans was that he's taking some much needed time to focus on his mental health. He hasn't been doing very well for a while and thinks it's finally time to focus on himself and make some much needed changes in his personality, for his own good and for the good of those around him, his friends and loved ones. The insider told us that the death of his parents along with his separation from Kourtney really negatively affected him, and he's just taking some time to process it all and deal with it. We think that Kourtney's wedding might have been harder for him. That's one of the downsides of being in the public eye. No matter how much you want to ignore something, it's everywhere, especially when you're the Kardashians, who quite literally rule the internet. Next up, here's what else we know. Okay, so now time for the bad news for Scott fans. But is it really bad news? We're not sure. You'll have to decide that. The insider told us that since Scott is taking time to focus on himself and his mental health, he won't be coming in the public for a while. He's taking a step back from all of the glory of cameras and flashlights until he sees that he's ready to come back. We think this is a good thing, and maybe this would help him deal with his emotions a lot better. We just hope that whatever he's having trouble with, he sorts it out soon so we can see him happy in the public eye again. A source told Us Weekly some things about how Scott had been doing. According to the source, Scott had been dealing with some issues for quite a while. According to them, even when it seemed like Scott was doing just fine, there were things in the back of his mind that were always troubling him and keeping him up at night. He just kept shoving them further back in his mind, and now he's finally ready to face them and sort those issues out. The Kardashians, according to The Insider, are being very supportive of Scott during his time and want him to love himself just as much as they love him. Although the family members talk to Scott frequently, Kourtney and Scott don't talk as much unless it's about their 3 children. The source told us that this makes him feel very disconnected with the family, which is one of his biggest fears. And now it's happening, and he just doesn't know how to deal with it. Coming up next, here's what fans want from the Kardashian show on Hulu. Fans understand how Scott has been feeling recently and sending their prayers in hopes he gets better soon. At the same time, they have a request from not only Scott but the Kardashians and Hulu as well. Ever since the show moved to Hulu, fans have been complaining about how the show has turned out recently. Fans think that the show is now just an advertisement for the family's companies and not as exciting and raw as it used to be. They say that they miss the drama and climax that Keeping Up with the Kardashians used to have and want Hulu to mold the show in the same way. And you know how shows go. Unless fans are obsessed with it, the show flops. And that's one thing neither the Kardashians nor Hulu can risk. So as far as we know, they'll have to listen to what's being asked of them. But that's not all they want. Fans want one more thing from the show, which could be tricky to do. We mean, yeah, they could mold the show to be more like how it used to be, but what fans are asking for now might be a little hard. They want Scott to have more scenes in the 3rd season of the show. After Kim asked the show's fans what they'd like to see in future episodes, fans sure had a lot of recommendations, and a lot of them were simply hilarious. Next up, why do fans want Scott back? Well, there's a lot of reasons why fans of the show want Scott to have more scenes in the new season. The top reason is they just miss how humorous Scott can be. They miss laughing at his jokes in the show. Not to mention his physical comedy was amazing. He's one of those people who don't have to try to be funny. They can just make everyone around them laugh simply by doing their thing, and fans miss that effortless comedy. They also think that Scott acted sort of like the audience's voice, and they really miss having that person in the show. They want to have that perspective in the show once again, and that's a huge reason they're asking Hulu to bring Scott back. Finally, are the fans' pleas going to be heard by Hulu? Well, we wish it was that simple that they could just bring him on the show more often the way we all want. But as we've talked about previously in the video, there are a few problems that we have to keep in mind before hoping for Scott to be in the show full time. The first and biggest problem is that Scott is taking time off from all of this. He has taken a step back to focus on himself, and we all must respect that decision. As fans, we need to understand that this is what's best for him, and putting pressure on him would be wrong. All that said, he might make an appearance in the 3rd season, but I wouldn't get your hopes up too high. It'd probably be like his appearance in season 2, short. That is all the time we have for today's video. Are you excited to watch the new season of Kardashians on Hulu? Let us know all about it down in the comment section below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to our channel for more similar content in the future. With all of that said, we'll see you in the next video.